Yo, what's going on, everyone? I totally forgot that was going to just blend in like that. Expected it to fade in. Apologies about that because I totally zoned out for a second. What's going on, everyone? This is your host, as always, Elliot Barr. We have a special guest of the show. I'm going to save to introduce him later. But first, joining me is our other host, Eb. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you today?
I can't complain. You know, it's Richmond weather. It doesn't know if you want to be spring or winter yet. So
Oh.
still trying to figure that out. And then joining me down below is a guy that is using a sponge to curl his hair, Mr. Kyle Carr. How are you doing, sir?
Why we gotta do that? Why we gotta do that? I'm doing well otherwise, but damn, why we gotta?
Because I'm jealous, Kyle. Okay, I can't do it anymore. All right.
It takes hard work, a lot of months of not cutting your hair, and then
Kyle,
you
this is
too.
gonna take up my aggressions on you like a 1940s father.
You can't do this to me. You can't do this to me today.
just disappointment after
I
disappointment.
should get a pass for at least a month.
Oh shit.
No, in a month I'm gonna be cussing you out.
Oh gosh. This is a great way to start a show.
It is.
It's
But
a-
joining me
it's a
is a
strong
guy
answer.
that I personally badger at least. How many times I badger you? At least 3 times a week.
You know, you guys are pretty infrequent with the emails, which I appreciate because Lord knows I'm getting a lot of them these days. My favorite though is it's usually about like 9:30. I'm sitting in my chair, maybe fired up the PS5 or watching the news or something, and all of a sudden I get a Twitter DM and it's a question. I'm like, that's gonna get answered tomorrow.
So about twice a week.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
Mr. Nathan. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad. Just like you, dealing with the Richmond weather. As you said, it doesn't know if it wants to be spring or winter. We did get a little bit of spring weather, and so my allergies are going crazy. So if I sound pretty bad right now, it's the tree pollen.
I can imagine. I can imagine also getting looks in the office of like, does he have COVID or is he just allergic to everything?
It's fair.
That was the worst part of two years ago when the pandemic started, and we didn't really know what was happening with COVID. That was the exact same time that allergy season was kicking in, and so like you were extra sus, walking around.
Oh yeah, it was. Like I had to literally tell people like I do not have COVID. I swear it's
Yeah.
just allergies. Like I am dying of pollen. Please do not curse me out to the side.
I mean, still curse you out, but
Yeah.
you don't curse. You don't
But
COVID.
look, I can't help it if I'm dying because of pollen. That's not on me.
That's kind of on
I
you.
was gonna say that it is your body.
That's
Okay.
very much on you.
But also we got a comment from the legendary comms director, so a guy that you helped out, Mr. Patrick Wood.
The GOAT, Patrick Wood. Yep. He's the reason why Richmond Kickers are where they're at today, as far as comms and digital. He's the pioneer of all these things. Running the club's communications and social media was becoming a thing. He's been the class of the league. I knew I had big shoes to fill when he decided to step down last year, and certainly a lot of people around the league let me know that too. So as a shrine, I kept most of his cork board together, and I hung my credentials up instead on top of where his were. But yeah, he's the GOAT.
I want to ask you, like, how nervous were you at first when Patrick came to you and be like, hey, like, I'm gonna leave soon. Like, how were you like, oh,
I'm not gonna lie, my face probably went whiter than it normally does when I just walked into his office and he goes, "Hey, close the door." I was like, "Uh-oh."
like I'm about to get fired.
I was gonna say that's either you're getting fired or someone important is leaving.
Yeah. No, it was one of these situations where I think we were 3 games into the season last year. And he let me know, and at that point it was, he told me what day is going to be his last game, and we really started, putting our heads down and making sure that I was ready to kind of just take over as he stepped down. And so he was very gracious to help me out, and he still answers my text messages in between taking care of his child. So he's the man. We're gonna get into a game,
right? It just for good old time's sakes. Damn it, Patrick.
Yeah, blame Patrick.
Yeah, blame Patrick is always the thing. Not always blame Nathan, but not as much because, like we were talking about before the show started, you are literally wearing how many hats? Like 5, 10, maybe 15. I'm just gonna keep doing multiples of 5.
I'm wearing a couple. So yeah, I'm the director of communications and digital media. So, I take care of all of our media interfacing, making sure that people are credentialed, that we're getting our local affiliates activated and coming out to the games, assisting with anything that they need in the press box during game day, making players and staff available for interviews. On top of that, I oversee a lot of the creation of the digital assets that we put out, videos, Instagram stories, like anything that's coming out on social. If I haven't made it, I'm at least approving it or, offering ideas towards the creation of things. And then I also run the social media. So yeah, it's never a dull day because I'm doing, 3 different things at every moment.
Right. Right. I can pretty imagine.
How is that not? How is that helping you in terms of like growth? Because that's a lot to be doing all at once, and I don't know about you, but that sounds tiring.
Well, it certainly is. The nice part is you get into a bit of a rhythm, and a lot of the stuff kind of feeds into each other as well. The nice thing is video and digital aren't really what my specialty is. Communications is. I really started in this industry writing features, interviewing athletes, things like that. So that's where I'm most comfortable in, and so it's exciting to start branching out more into graphic design, video, videography, video editing, things like that. So that stuff kind of keeps me into learning and wanting to try new things. But yeah, I mean, you get into a rhythm, and we're a smaller staff here at the Kickers, but we do everything that we can to help each other out. So I always know I've got somebody to lean on if my plate starts getting too full.
So then is it kind of like you go into the week saying we're going to do this, for this day, this on this day, or is it kind of more of a, obviously like player signings is an exception because, you probably have a plan for the player signings to get up the graphics and everything. But for other digital content, is that something you plan out, a couple weeks in advance, or is it kind of just going into like the week of?
Yeah, a lot of that, it's all determined upon, what's going to be scheduled, what's organic. A lot of the stuff that you see probably on specific days are going to be scheduled. Like you always know that you're going to get, like on Monday, there's going to be probably a highlight tape that comes out after the game of whatever our videographers took on the sidelines. So that's in a way kind of organic, but you always know it's going to come out on that day. So in that way, it's scheduled. We've got our content that we create for partnerships. A lot of that is scheduled out months in advance. And then the organic stuff is, teams bantering each other on Twitter. And so keeping an eye and see what's going on. I noticed that Ford Madison's doing a lot of things with cups right now. So,
Spring cleaning.
Yeah. Seems cool. I prefer the cup that we got in 1995 to whatever cups you guys have, but
you don't want the shiniest cup of all cups?
I like the one that's open.
So Nate, Nate,
Yeah.
you mentioned Twitter and all that. So it's a constant changing rotation of new meme after new whatever popular thing. Wearing so many hats, how do you stay on top of that so that you make sure you're staying on top of like the newest trend that's going out, so that you stay in front of it as much as you can?
Yeah, that's where having 2 screens on the desk really help out. Kind of have Twitter up on the sideboard there, just kind of see what's happening. I will say we've taken a bit of a pivot as far as how we approach our social media in the last couple of years. We want to have a little bit more. I don't know what the correct wording might be, but certainly we want to cast ourselves a little bit more as like the elder statesman club because we've been around for so long. And so maybe we're a little less into just firing off a hot meme to fire off a hot meme. I will say when I first started with the Kickers back in 2019, it was a little different and I was a little spicier. Shout outs to my guys over at League One Unfiltered who kind of spurred me on to help out with that a little bit. But as I've taken on a little bit more of a leadership role at the club too, we've looked to pick our spots, be a little less in the moment, and instead crafting narratives and trying to start telling our story in the way that we want to we're a historical club. We've been around. This will be our 30th straight season, which is unprecedented in American soccer. And so trying to share those narratives instead and just trying to be a positive force in soccer.
Do you find that like frustrated sometimes when you hear from other supporters within like the fan base about like, oh well, why are we talking about this, or why aren't you guys doing this? Like, how do you deal with that frustration? Because I'm sure you have to hear it or see it.
Some of I think the toughest part about this job, and you guys probably understand this too, running accounts for the various podcasts that you work with. Although on your guys' level, maybe it's a little bit more personal, but you have to remove yourself from the brand as hard as that is. I feel a certain connection. If I'm the one who's running the social media, like in a way, it feels like it's my social media account. It's tied to my phone. It's tied to my laptop. I'm getting notifications on my vacation when I'm asleep. But at the end of the day, like it's not my account. It's the Richmond Kickers account. And so there are just certain things that you have to let, go off the side of your back. Like there's things I can control, things I can't control. And everybody's going to have an opinion on how they want things done. But I feel confident in what we're producing and what we're trying to, put out to people, that at the end of the day, like the suggestions are nice and we'll probably listen to a few of them. And at the other times, it's not a personal attack. It's just people want to see things happen. And if we can make it happen, we can. And if we don't, it is what it is.
How are you hoping to teach that to, like you said, you just got a new intern or you're getting a new intern? How do you hope that message conveys to them so that, they don't get that kind of caught up in the same thing?
Yeah. Well, part of that is me. I need to probably stop being a control freak and take my talons out of everything. I am looking to bring in some interns in the summer that will have probably a more direct role with social media than currently anybody else has had. And a lot of that comes down to just reminding and teaching that, the Kickers brand has a voice and then your personal brand has a different voice. And those things can be separate, and that's a good thing. And so just kind of relaying what our values are as a club and what our expectations are as a communications department is. And that's really kind of where I've had success in other positions. I worked at Penn FC, formerly the Harrisburg City Islanders. We had a similar situation where we had a couple interns. They all had access to the social media, and we all recognized that this is how we expect tweets to, look like. And we had branding guides and things like that. And so somebody who's new always has at least a North Star that they can look towards. And my big rule is if it doesn't seem right, don't tweet it. That's my biggest rule. If you pause for a second and go, should we post this? Probably not worth chancing it. So,
Right.
I was going to say, how have you noticed? Obviously, with the shift in social media between, Facebook kind of being more phased out, then you have Twitter, you have Instagram, now there's stuff like TikTok. Like, what do you notice in terms of working in Twitter that might not work as well as Instagram, that might not work as well as Facebook, or, whatever other social media platforms are out there?
I think the first thing that jumps out to me, especially using Twitter as the example, because that's probably my preferred social media platform. I'm right in the zone of 30, so that Twitter was the cool platform for me versus, a couple people older than me might prefer Facebook and so on.
I had a Bebo.
Oh, yeah. What?
You never heard of Bebo? It was like MySpace before MySpace.
It sounds like some flea market nonsense.
like knockoff AOL bullshit. What the hell?
That sounds like the website when you go on Google and you type it in, it pulls up that firewall screen. It's like, are you sure you want to go to that website?
That fake.
I never used it, but I had
it. What the hell?
I also had a Black Planet. Yeah, I had a Black Planet because everyone in my high school had one. So I was like, oh well, I'll make one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking of the Public Enemy album, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
I really push for Welcome to the Terror Dome as our walkout music, by the way. We're going with something different, but I thought that
Please do. I just asked for that.
Yeah, also shout out to MySpace. The coding that you had to learn how to do on MySpace is helping me. as we switched to a new website last week. As I had to go in and change some coding, I kind of remembered, making my old layouts. So that was nice. It was only
How many
2005.
times did you get in trouble for kicking somebody out of your top 10? Or did you have a top 10, or was it like top 8 friends?
It was top 8.
It was top 8. I mean, you had like your 4 or 5 really close friends, like they're locked in there. And then, depending on how hard you maybe were crushing on a girl, maybe she's in the top 8, maybe she's number 1, just to let them know.
You just get it like that?
Yeah,
I never did. Nope, I never would. Even if I had crushes on, they're not going number 1.
Mm.
You can't give out your whole hand.
Real low key, I'm not putting them in the top 8. Until we like boyfriend and girlfriend holding hands, I'm not putting you in the top 8.
Wow. So he can go from Black Planet, but he's picky on his MySpace.
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, though, I put more thought into the song on my MySpace page than I did what actually went in the top 8. That was major. You had to have the song right.
What was your background?
That was more important to me.
So, I was a moody, edgy high school kid. So,
Nick, don't tell me you were gothic.
I wasn't goth. I wore like what I'm wearing right now, this Adidas jacket. Like that's what I wore in high school. But it was always like all black and blue jeans or whatever. Probably had some Avenged Sevenfold song, and then I had like a special like V for Vendetta background because that movie had just come out.
Yep.
Kyle, what'd you have?
My background was always either a Milwaukee Bucks player at the time. So let's see, at that point, it probably was Michael Redd. Maybe a Bob Marley in the background.
Goddamn time. Okay. What'd you have?
My background was normally just like something, either a black abstract something or a very colorful something. It was weird. I went through phases. Yeah.
It's like a mood ring,
Yeah.
All right.
So what he's saying is he was made for this communication life because he
was.
He's all right there.
As a freshman in high school, making my MySpace page, that one day I would be helping create a website for the Richmond Kickers. So it's good times.
It was on the board. Is that what it was?
The vision board.
Yeah.
Now if I could just like have it so that way when you first went to richmondkickers.com that it played like When You Were Young by the Killers, then we'd really be cooking with gas.
There you go.
That would be 2006 all over again.
Nate
have Tom as the number 1 friend.
Great segue, Nate. If you could change something about the overall look and feel of how Richmond is communicated to the world, what would it be?
So I'm going to go into a long-winded answer, and if Patrick Wood's still listening, he's probably heard this a bunch of times, but my whole philosophy that I tell people that we're bringing into the organization that's going to help with comms and digital and things like that, our tenets that I work based on, if you are from Richmond and you see our content, I want you to like feel a sense of pride. You're like, yeah, that's my city, that's my town, that's my team. If you're from Richmond but you don't live there anymore, I want you to like feel sick that you're not in Richmond anymore. I want you to like have that yearning to like go back, experience a game, experience the city. I think we've got something really special here, and we're definitely a hidden gem. And if you're not from Richmond and you see our content, I want you to be like, I absolutely have to go there right now. So those are my core tenets. It's Richmond centric. If you're from here, you love it. If you're from here and you're not here anymore, you're jealous that you're not. And then anybody else who's not from Richmond, you're buying your plane ticket immediately.
I want to ask you this. How are the Kickers looking to expand their communication into other parts of the city? I've talked about this since like to you and other people, but like it's kind of like at a certain point of the city of Richmond, like communication of the Richmond Kickers or people knowing who they are kind of gets lost. How are you guys looking to improve that aspect?
So some of that has started just with trying to, create new relationships with the local media. Obviously me taking over Patrick's position mid-season last year made it a little difficult because I had a little bit of a relationship with the local news people, but it wasn't to the same degree that Patrick was. So in a way I had to introduce myself. We've used the off season to start leveraging that a little bit better as well, taking meetings with all the local channels, and trying to foster new partnership agreements, new relationships, making sure that people are coming out to games and covering us, making sure that people are covering the other things that we're doing as well. We've recently brought in Alan Carr, our senior manager of marketing and branding. She's brought in a new intern who's kind of spearheading a lot more community relations and engagement stuff. So we've got some events that we're going to finally start going to that have been long overdue. Obviously, the pandemic prevented us from doing a lot of those things. So you're going to see Kickers players out and about a lot more. And then just trying to put a new emphasis on hiring as well. So that way we can bring in, added diversity into places where decisions are being made as well. Bringing in people who are bilingual, bringing in people from different backgrounds. So that way, you have a sense of confidence and authority when then you try to take that message outside of the building, that, people understand what you're trying to convey, and that they understand that, we're actually about it. We're not just doing lip service. So those have been some of the changes that we're trying to make. We're just trying to be more visible. I think that's been an issue that the Kickers have had. A lot of people still think we're the youth club. And so it makes us sick every time anybody makes that comment. They're like, oh, I just thought the Kickers were a youth organization. So we're trying to really shut that down and show off that we're a professional team, we're a professional organization, we're super buttoned up, we're treating this. We might not be an MLS team, might not be a USL championship team, but we're certainly going to act like it, and just have that perception there.
Yeah, I see. Like sometimes a lot of people, especially in Richmond, give Richmond and be like, "Oh well, they're not MLS. I'm not going to worry about the soccer." And things. How do you try to not convince people, but how do you overcome that stereotype of like, "Oh, it's not MLS, so I'm not going to go watch it" or something like that? Especially between now DC and Charlotte, two MLS teams.
Well, first I'd remind people of how crappy the traffic is to DC. They're expanding all of the road now down to Fredericksburg. It's a mess. Patrick Wood, who's probably still listening, can attest to that as a Fredericksburg resident. It's terrible. It took me 2.5 hours to get to DC the other day. So just go to a Kickers game. It takes you like 15 minutes to get here. On top of that, though, what's important, and this shows up and it's going to continue to show up in our digital content, I want to sell the fan experience. As important as what happens on the pitch, and I want to have cool goal highlights. I'm going to make sure that every time Emiliano Terzaghi scores a goal, I'm going to shove it down everybody's throats and let them understand that he's the best goal scorer in our league. But on top of that, I just want people to see how fun it is to go to a Kickers game. The thing that I missed the most during the pandemic was going to concerts and live music. And I found myself watching a lot of like highly produced live shows and just seeing the crowd reaction shots and things like that. I've really taken it as a point of inspiration that I show anybody who's going to come in and work with us making video that, this is the kind of stuff I want people to see. For the Premier League fans that are watching stuff on Saturday mornings, I want you to then take your Sunday nights and come to City Stadium and bring the same energy that you brought for Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, whoever your team is. Like, bring that same energy and support your local club, because at the end of the day, like, it's as much fun. Honestly, it's way more fun to be at a game than it is to watch it on TV, win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter. Like, it's way better to be in the stadium.
True.
So real quick, talking about Man United, you actually have another side job that you do that people might not be aware of. Working for what, Busby Babes, right?
So I'm a contributing staff writer, an editor, and a podcaster for SB Nation's Manchester United blog. Obviously, things have not been great over there this year. It's the vibes are in hell, I believe, is our catchphrase right now. I also run the social media for the Busby Babe as well, but certainly the memes have gotten a little bit darker this year. So I've been looking for new ways to try and find some joy in an otherwise joyless season. So A lot of Elden Ring memes right now because that's what I'm playing. Yeah.
So I gotta ask, like, how did you get started with that?
With the Busby Babe?
Yeah.
So that started. My buddy actually had suggested, because he had started reading the Everton blog. He's an Everton fan, and so he had followed, I believe, their Royal Merseyside is that blog, the Everton SB Nation page, and he suggested
about them.
He's like, you should write for them, and I was like, I'm not an Everton fan. Why would I do that? And he's like, well, they're looking for somebody to write. This was the fall of 2018. I had just gotten laid off because Penn FC had shut down operations for the year. And so at that point, I was trying to find new things. I actually was coming back from an interview at East Stroudsburg University for their assistant director of communications position in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, when I got the email back from my former editor at the Busby Babe saying that he wanted to take a look at my stuff. Because I had sent out an email saying, hey, these are my samples. I would love to write about Manchester United, DC United, the Miami Heat, literally like any team I like, please let me write for you. And so they had an opening at the Busby Babe, and they brought me on. I wrote some features for them and slowly but surely worked my way in. And now I have, I guess, a little bit of influence over there as well.
There you go. Look at you. Have influence everywhere.
And I'll tell you, if you wanted to see what Kickers match day tweets would look like if we were not being like a buttoned up club, just follow the Busby Babe, because some of my stuff on match day is just unhinged.
Well, I imagine it has to be with that level of frustration that's going on.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is joyous time.
I've just been cooking Ronaldo. I mean,
we don't need that negativity.
Yeah, just cooking him. So, yeah. But otherwise, it's been a very, very fulfilling experience. It's certainly something I suggest. I do lectures at VCU because I'm pretty tight with the journalism professor there that I had when I was there.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, you're either going to write for free or you're going to write for not a little bit of, not a whole lot of money. So my suggestion is, if you're secure somewhere else and you want to sharpen your writing skills, if you want to get some more experience, it's been a really positive experience. I certainly wouldn't say if you need a job, go hit up SB Nation, because you're not going to make any money for it. But writing, I found in the time between when I was laid off and when I had my next writing job, writing really is like something that you need to keep sharp. You need to have it. If your knife gets dull, your vegetables don't cut very nicely. It's the same thing with your writing. You have to stick with it. So if you find yourself in a situation where, maybe you had to go take your old job at Best Buy and sell TVs and deliver appliances, and you want to make sure that your writing skills don't go to hell in a handbasket, you write about Manchester United.
And I was going to say, out of those areas between the writing, kind of more the digital side, which do you prefer? Obviously, it seems like you're still trying to stay as much on top of your writing as possible, but obviously with the Kickers, you're kind of doing more of that digital side. So is there an area that you kind of lean towards more often? Is there an area that you kind of want to do more work in?
Mm-hmm. My favorite is long form features. It's my absolute favorite thing. I love sitting down with a player, a coach, a person of interest for 30 minutes to an hour, picking their brain, talking about various things, and then turning it into 2,500, 3,000 words and making an editor mad at me that the piece is that long. That's what I specialized in. I was actually a history major in college. So I really grew up on writing like really, really long papers, and it's translated into my journalism, which editors don't like, but that's really what I love. That's my favorite thing. Especially the actual interview process. I love the first project I did for the Kickers when they brought me on as an intern back in 2019 is I wrote a feature on Joe Gallardo. And that was like one of the coolest things I've still done as a member of the Kickers. I sat down with him I think we talked for about 45 minutes, and I wrote about a 2,700 word feature on him. And it was really expansive, talked about his youth career, his injuries that prevented him from probably being an MLS superstar, and kind of how he's using the Kickers as an opportunity to reset his career. And I had a lot of fun writing that piece.
So, I guess to kind of bring it back to you, like a normal game day, what does that look like for you as you wear so many hats that you probably shouldn't have to?
Well, so like I kind of alluded to, everybody picks up where there's slack. Somebody's there to pick it up, which has been really great. We've got a very, very strong sense of teamwork in our front office. Everybody's willing to do other things. As far as on game day, I have to be in the press box. That is my job. I'm the person who interfaces with local media. There has to be, by league rules, there has to be somebody in the press box interfacing with media, making sure that their needs are attended to, things like that. So anything that I can do in the press box while I'm in there, being the club representative, I'll take care of, whether it's tweets, writing down notes for the match report that's going to go out later on that evening. And then just answering questions, providing sports information to anybody who's in the press box, while also assisting. We've got people who run our stats with Opta. We've got whoever's not doing the match reports doing the tweets. We've got the run of show that's happening on the other side of the press box, which Alan Carr takes care of beautifully. So she's handling like lights and music and the announcer and things like that, which was something I originally had to do because Patrick had to do it. And I nipped it in the bud pretty quick, where I was like, I can't be running across the press boxes. Elliot knows there's actually a door that separates the wings of the press box, and I could not continuously just like sprint back and forth to make sure like announcer was good, Richmond Times Dispatch, they're fine. It became too much. So that's where I'm in during the game day. I'm in the press box. If there's no press in there, maybe I'm a little bit more you can tell when the kickers are winning that maybe I'm showing it a little bit more visually. As evidenced by the chair that still lays on the ground after the game winner against Toronto FC2. But
Man, well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and pivot into this season. Nate, you've probably been closer to the team than anyone else because every game's been behind closed doors, unfortunately. That's not a personal gripe. That's just how I feel. But how is the team looking this year? Who are you most excited about?
I'd be remiss if I didn't. Obviously, first and foremost, the back-to-back reigning league MVP, the back-to-back reigning Golden Boot winner.
Kyle, I want you to listen to this, okay?
What?
I just want to let everybody know he's back.
I have no problem with it. God damn, I'm not Omaha.
So
it's really more
he should be MVP.
Yeah, I think what's exciting when you do watch the team, and I hope in the highlight videos that I've put out, at least, you can see that the guys are coming around. I mean, there's just a lot more comfortability. You should listen to the River City 93 podcast that Elliot just did with, and Matt Myers did with Jonathan Bolaños. He's somebody who has just gotten better each year, and he's a lot more comfortable. And him and Emmy, I mean, it's like big brother, little brother, that their relationship at this point. Emmy's a little bit older and is able to impart some career wisdom to Jonathan in that way. So Jonathan's obviously incredibly exciting again this year. As you've alluded to, Matt Bulldogs bagged a couple goals here in the preseason, and I'll tell you what, the Leonardo Baima, our new Argentine, he's got incredible touch with the ball. And then I'll give a shout out to Matt Bentley as well.
Okay.
He's an incredibly talented forward.
Is there any chance we could get Darren wearing anything other than black?
Why would you get the man to change his style?
I just want to make sure. I just want to know, because I was joking with him the other time about like, you're going to toss it up, throw it out there like maybe black and white one day or something else. Because I know wearing all black in the summer is like deadly.
I wouldn't ask Bill Belichick to stop wearing his cutoff hoodies, so I'm not going to ask Aaron Kowalski to change the all black. As somebody who just told you during the MySpace era, mostly wore all black, so I'm about it.
All right, well that works. No worries.
Oh man. So to question for you, you mentioned that you anything that kind of goes out, you kind of have your hands on, and you talk about making sure you separate your voice from the club's voice. Well, how do you do that in a sense? Like, because technically, well, not technically, you are the club when you write for them, right? How do you separate your feelings from what your club is putting out?
I'd honestly give credit probably to my extensive history in customer service. Just really, I worked at Walgreens for a bunch of years. I worked at Best Buy for a bunch of years. I worked at the YMCA for nearly a decade. Like, just you have that mindset that you're not with your friends, you are with people who are patronizing a business, and you change how, just in that moment, you change how you interact with people. And it's the same way running a social media account for a soccer club. I mean, you are always actively aware that whatever you say is amplified, and maybe a little bit of the fear of God and the fact that if you have a slip up, it's a really big problem. It kind of governs how you're going to do things. And granted, I've been doing this for a little bit as well, so I just have that comfortability as well.
That's fair. Is there a player that you want to do another log feature on? Is there a player on the roster this year that you're kind of looking forward to working with?
Yeah. So last year we did a video series with, excuse me, Nil Vinyals, who, if you guys haven't had a chance, I believe we've got that uploaded on the YouTube now. I need to check. It was a Kickers Plus exclusive last year. I've since unlocked it. He's a super cool guy, Nil Vinyals, and I hope everybody gets a chance to experience that video. If not, I'm going to check now after this is over, make sure it's uploaded, because I thought it was really good. Especially a guy from Barcelona, and all he's done is live in the American South since he's moved from Barcelona. So I had to ask him what his first experience with barbecue was like and things like that. I mean, other guys that I would love to do a feature with, I think it's because we're similar in age, but Jalen Crisler and I get along pretty well. A little bit, Kyle. He's a super cool guy.
Yep.
Real down to earth, loves the sports. He's really taken to living in Richmond. And then I think I'd probably just do a big Washington feature. Get Nathan Aune, Jalen Crisler, Chris Cole all together and have that conversation, because I mean they're all different personalities, but they all kind of have that same, a little bit of a vibe to them. It's like what Darren had talked about. These guys from Washington are just a little different, and Chris Cole's got one of the best senses of humor on the team. So definitely love those guys.
Is there a team you're excited to go? Well, the two questions: is there a team you're excited to go play against, and is there a city you're excited to get to explore?
So I finally get to do a little bit of traveling with the team this year, which I'm pretty excited about. I get one plane trip, and then I can hop on the bus as much as I want. I will say I'm probably least looking forward to Chattanooga because that's the longest bus ride. But I've been told there's a really good restaurant in Chattanooga that I hope I get to try. I'm really excited to go back to Greenville. I visited there just because I had a buddy who was stationed at Fort Jackson when he was still in the Army, and I had a blast down in Greenville. I'm excited to go try the barbecue joint in Tormenta, like I mentioned to you guys. I spent a lot of time in Raleigh, so it's whatever. I don't have to go back, But
That's fair.
Chances are I'm probably going to go to Madison. I do want to experience it. I like that you guys have your stadium in the city. I think there's a lot of opportunity to get some good B-roll while I'm there too for any kind of away day content. But I've also thought about wanting to go to Omaha, mostly because I can't think of any reason to go to Omaha other than for work. So might as well have the opportunity to experience it, because in my little bit of Google searching, it does look like a cool city. But
well, if you do come to Madison, let me know, and I can show you around, and you can get the B-roll footage that you'll need.
Excellent. I love that. I gotta try the coffee. Is it pretty good?
Yeah, I actually do think it's pretty good coffee, and I'm very picky with my coffee. So
excellent.
Yes, I enjoy it. I got a bag of it for a couple weeks ago because I ran out. So
is this the Wake the Flock Up? or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That one, okay.
I got to see if it's legit, you know?
There you go. Just see if it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
I say buy it. It's for charity. It's for good cause.
Just because for a good cause don't mean it don't suck.
It doesn't. I wouldn't. We know, like I just said, I'm picky about my coffee. If it wasn't good, I wouldn't continuously buy it.
I mean,
If I want to give money to other things, I can just give the money.
All right, Mr. Family Man, take it easy.
Yeah. It's like you're getting bullied on this show. God damn.
You're not getting bullied. I love you differently. Oh,
It's because the Premier League team's doing so well right now. You got to get knocked down a peg somewhere.
What, last season wasn't enough?
no.
Oh, coming off of a championship, you guys had to deal
Not
with
the Premier League.
Oh. I forgot we still talking about League One. He means Ford Madison.
He's talking about that team.
That team.
Yeah, that season wasn't fun.
Because it was fun for me. Okay. Because I had a ball, is what you're saying.
It's not my problem.
Ooh.
Oh man, Nate, yo, this has been super fun, man. I think you've given us a lot of insight into what and how difficult your job and everyone else's job is that runs the comms for these teams, man. So first of all, hats off to you and thank you.
I
for
do
all
have
the
one
work you
final
do.
question.
What's up, Kyle?
If you wanted to give advice for anyone that wanted to get involved in comms or marketing or social media for any soccer team, not just, lower league teams, just any team in America, what would be the advice you would give them?
My first bit of advice, if you want to work for an MLS team, go to a college in that city, just because it's incredibly difficult to make that work otherwise, especially with the cost of living that's happening in a lot of the major cities. Like if you're already there, it's a little bit easier to make it work than if you were to try and commute and do all of that. But I think having a willingness to learn and discover new things is what's really, really important. And networking, I will say, I would not be in the position I'm in had I not built relationships starting, in college. One of my good friends who I took a marketing class with on top of that, he had a graduate assistantship that he had earned at Millersville University. He was 1 year into his program. He emailed me and said, "Hey, do you want to come get your master's up here in Millersville?" And at that point, I was spinning my wheels post-college, and I was like, hell yeah, I want a free master's degree. Like, let's do it. So I moved up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I did 2 years at Millersville University as a GA in their athletic department. And that's something that really prepped me for what I'm doing here, because I was a Division II school, and you had to do everything there. I was running the PA, the stats, writing the match report, and running the music during the men's and women's soccer games at Pusilo Field. So
man,
it's just like in my blood now. Like if I ever found myself, because obviously, just like our players, I have my aspirations. I want to be at higher levels as well. I'm going to be chilling if I'm ever in an MLS press box, because it's like, oh, I only have to do one thing. So that's my piece of advice is be willing to be a jack of all trades. Be willing to learn something. What I've found is just because you're good at something, or if you're focused on something, doesn't mean that you can't find the open road to the avenue that you actually want to go by learning something new or trying something new. If I only came to the Kickers as somebody who was doing straight communications, I wouldn't have gotten a full-time position because Patrick Wood was here. But because I took on a role as a manager of digital content and took that part off of Patrick's plate while he was here, it provided me an opportunity to be a full-time employee for the Kickers, hone some skills in some different areas outside of communications. And then when Patrick decided to step down to help raise his son, I absorbed his role, and now I'm in a position where I'm a little bit more comfortable in the things that I do. And so now I'm trying to pass those responsibilities on to people who are coming in. So flexibility, willingness to learn, and, make good relationships, work on those relationships. If you meet somebody that you're vibing with in college, or if you're at a networking event, things like that, keep that relationship going. You never know what's going to happen out of that.
There you go. Wise words from a very, very wise man. Nate, thank you, man, for coming on the show, dude. You have dropped a lot of gems, and I can tell like you are a master at what you do, my man.
Well, I mean, I did bring home 2 trophies at the winter meeting, so
There you go.
Damn.
Gotta flex it. Gotta flex it.
Gotta flex
no,
it, man.
that was a really special moment, though. I do want to give a shout out to all my fellow comms people across the league, because we're trying to tighten up that community right now and open up new lines of communication. There has been a lot of turnover at some of the clubs. It's hard to work at this level, and so trying to build each other up. There's a competition just like there is out on the field. We want to make content that's better than your content and vice versa. And if anybody tells you differently, they're lying to your face. You know, I want to make the best stuff. I don't like that Madison looks like they've recently bought new cameras and their videos look really, really good. You know, I'm trying to set my level up.
Saw
So
the cups.
yeah.
I told you, that's what we got to fund things. Tell the Cubs, get the nice camera.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, you know, we're trying to have healthy competition, and we're trying to build relationships so that way there's always open lines of communication. And in a way, as long as we're all working together, then we're raising the level of what the league looks like. And then, because I want the league to be perceived in a way at the same level as the championship, especially since we were a former championship club. North Carolina is a former championship club. Like Charlotte's a former championship club. Like we want to still operate at that level, even though we're not at that level. And we want to help the rest of the League One clubs get to that level too, because, you know, this is the bangers only league. Like I'm tired of just seeing USL championship stuff go viral and being posted about, you know, like I want League One to get their flowers too. So that's what we're all working on.
There we go. Yes. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man.
I mean, I've lived in Richmond since I was 2001. Since 2001, this is ostensibly my hometown club. Everything I do, every decision I make, everything that I'm helping with it's for the betterment of the club and for the city that I've called home since 2001. It's very special to me that I have this position. And so
this man just said community over corporate, but with like 16 extra words, and I appreciate it.
So, yeah, and that's what's special about our club. Like so many people are from Richmond that work for this club. We've got a couple people who have come in from outside communities, but they're people who embrace the city. And so that's what's, I think, important for all of our teams. Everybody who is coming to work at whatever club, they've really bought into the community that they live in and that they work in. And so that's how we're going to be different than MLS, you know, is by continuing to foster those relationships. And, you know, we can be as well supported relatively to the lower leagues in England. We just have to keep building.
Right. There you go, man. Well, I guess that's the perfect way to end the show, man. Where can everyone reach out to you, support your work? Of course, we know Richmond Kickers, but you personally, where can everyone reach out and support you at?
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Nathan is Red. That's really kind of the only like public facing social media that I use. My Instagram is really just for me to post Formula One memes. So and then sharing.
I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, and then sharing videos that the band Spirit Box posts, because they get some incredible videographers on tour with them.
God, we can also talk about that as well, because Nate, I ain't gonna lie, Nate does be playing some really amazing games like Elder's Ring, and I think like when the F1 series on Netflix came out, Nate went like on a 10-day like tweet rant about it. Like every tweet was about the F1 show.
It was perfect timing, right? So I moved into my new apartment last July, and for whatever reason, I had put on Netflix. I didn't have anything to do. I was sick of moving boxes, and I was like, I'm gonna sit down and watch something, anything. And the first thing that popped up on Netflix that recommended me to check out episode 1 of Drive to Survive. I watched that first episode, and I banged out all 3 seasons within that like week. And then the new season just dropped this past weekend. I watched the whole thing by Sunday.
Good Lord.
Yeah, man.
Season 3.
You drilled.
We had snow this weekend. I wasn't going to go outside.
Right.
I put my sweatpants on, and I watched Drive to Survive. It was great.
Jesus Christ.
You drill around these parts. Man is dedicated on a whole nother level.
Well, I'm ready to go. Bahrain's this weekend. Hopefully it's race win 1 of 22 for Lewis Hamilton, and we're riding. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good season.
I have a sneaky feeling Ferrari as a team is going to do really well, but
Sainz is my dark horse to win this weekend's race.
I'm just saying, like, Sainz and Leclerc, those are 2 good drivers. Like, those are probably like out of the team, like a duo. That's probably the 2 best that you can put together.
They're really, really exciting to watch because I think Leclerc and Sainz are the future of the sport. And then on top of that, if Ferrari's kind of figured out the problems that they've had the last couple of years, they're gonna be dangerous.
Do you not think that Lewis has figured that out?
Oh, he's going to win the title. Like, he'll win the title, but Ferrari as a team will do pretty well because I don't trust George Russell. I don't know. I haven't been impressed by him.
I'll tell you what, though. George Russell has the best sunglasses game, I think, out of any professional athlete.
Now we're getting into the real content. Let's go.
George Russell wakes up every day and goes, I'm going to be an extra in the Kingsman. And he just knocks it out of the park every day.
This is why everybody stays in this show. This is the content we produce, folks.
That whole show is just like
Sebastian.
It's an advertisement. It's an advertisement for great sunglasses. Everybody's got great sunglasses.
That's really what Mercedes decided to save the money, not pay Bottas, and then just decide, all right, we're gonna give all the money to Lewis, make sure his car is good, and George, you just bring in sponsors just by wearing sunglasses. That's a good business model.
I don't know about that. Sebastian Vettel was cheated by COVID.
I mean, he got COVID.
He got COVID. Yeah, he got COVID, but
I feel like
I really hope he's doing okay, and that he doesn't have one of those bad cases of COVID that lingers around, because he's probably one of my favorite drivers, and he's kind of fallen by the wayside just because he's not at a big team anymore, which is too bad, because I think he's really important for the social change that's going to happen in the sport, in the same way that Lewis has been a huge driving force in a lot of things. Sebastian's been right there too, as far as trying to modernize a lot of the things that the sport perceives. But I am excited to see Nico Hulkenberg. Hopefully he can get on the podium this weekend.
That would be the funniest shit if he just came in and got on the podium. He should just retire after that.
Yeah. He's like, all right, cool. Got it. I'm out. Later. I can see Elliot's eyes are glazing over right now.
I'm actually reading the Twitter comments and making sure that everything is right. My bad. No, because I need to finish it. Because I'm in season 2, episode 2. So yeah, I need to.
I think I'm on season 3, halfway through season 3.
I've been bullshitting, man.
The greatest moment of television I've ever witnessed was season 1 when Christian Horner and Cyril Abiteboul are having it. The episode's called The Art of War, and Christian Horner thinks he's screwed over Cyril because he's like, we're going Honda next year, and then Cyril's like, I took your driver.
I still haven't watched it yet, so I probably should do that.
It is good. You got to watch it.
Yo, Nate, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
If magically Richmond got the budget to produce a Netflix series, who would be the star of the show?
I think my dark horse, honestly, you guys will love Chris Cole. That dude is hilarious. And then on top of that, they're not allowed to do interviews separately, but Luke and Matt together.
Thank you. That's the only correct answer.
Which we kind of gave that to you guys a little bit last year with Luke's announcement, having Matt do the interview. That was a really, really cool thing that we got to do. I'm so glad that they were game for that, because it was a lot of fun. The amount of stuff that sat on the cutting room floor, because it was just this video needs to be somewhat short, because it's an announcement video.
Imagine Step Brothers, but in a soccer version. That's Luke and Matt.
Oh boy,
they're conjoined to him.
Yeah, no, they're great. And I mean, what's really cool too is they've been at the Kickers for they're the elder statesmen of the clubs. I mean, Matt Bolduc has been here since 2017, 2018, and then Luke's been here since He signed his first contract with the club under Bulow. So, I mean, they've been staples at the club, and they're so funny together.
I think
They are brothers. Sure.
Yeah, I think Matt, Luke, and Akira are the three oldest at the club, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Akira's got to be like 40 at this point.
Let's not do my man dirty like that.
He was one of my men. I know, but
Tell you what. So yes, Akira is a little bit older than me, but I'll tell you what, he's in way better shape than anybody. I swear.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, he's a machine.
I would hope so, at least.
There's a reason why Akira is still so successful at the age that he is. I mean, he does everything correctly. He's the consummate professional. Just approaches everything just the way that you want somebody to do. And him becoming part of the coaching staff too, I think, has kind of invigorated him even more. He talked to Elliot about that last year on their podcast. I mean, Akira is he's the man. He really is. Can't stress that enough.
I know I've tried to be like, oh, Akira might retire this year, but nah, Akira is great. He is great, and I was not shocked, but I was happy to see that he took over the goalkeeper position, coach last year, and looking to see how he does in that year too.
Yeah, and it's really cool to watch him work in practice because we've got Austin Kazi waiting in the wings, and that's from my vantage point, that's a fun communications piece because he's the first second generation player in our club's history, which again, that's not a thing a lot of clubs can say, that they've got two generations of the same last name on their team. I guess Columbus can sort of say that with the Etiennes, simply because Derek Jr., at least his dad was a kicker, by the way. So
it all comes back to us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Without us, there is it does. Think about it. Without us, there is no soccer, really.
The sport would have ceased to exist had the Richmond Kickers not formed in 1993. That is a verifiable fact.
Right.
Where? You know what? Because I love y'all so much, I'm going to let y'all have that one.
And with that,
this is the only time I get to beat my chest proudly.
Yeah.
Wait, so if they're still listening at this point, Yogi, we might as well tell the people about the new derby coming out.
Smother and cover.
Well. Yeah.
Are we supposed to be the one are we going to reveal it?
Yeah, I already did.
I mean, we created it. We own the content.
I have no part of this, so I don't care. This is not my thing.
You got Omaha to worry about now.
North
Colorado.
It's North Carolina FC, Richmond Kicker, North Carolina FC, Richmond Kickers, Chattanooga Red Wolves, Greenville Triumph. That's a weird little bunch right there. Yeah,
just excluded Charlotte.
Charlotte and Tormenta getting excluded on this Southern thing.
We tried.
Both of those teams got invites, and neither one of those teams responded. So,
because we know who's running the Charlotte supporters group, it is not a fan.
Right.
True.
Big facts. So it's the Smothered and Covered Cup. Be on the lookout for that tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. What do you think?
I can't wait to see how you create content around this.
Yeah,
man. Trophy.
The trophy is gonna be amazing.
The emoji is gonna be, it's fun during Henny Derby week to tweet out the little whiskey glass emoji. Just be like, it's match week, and then it's just that little hint with the emoji that's like, this one's special. So,
I want to ask you about that. How did the front office take that?
With incredible confusion. Well, so the first year it was like, all right, what are we doing? Is this going to stick? And then you guys stuck with it, to your credit, which I think is the most important part. And you willed it into existence. And then Ford Madison, social team, me, started to embrace it a little bit, little wink here, a little nod there, saying this is a thing that's happening. And then I think when the league did their feature piece with you guys. I think that's what really carried it over the edge. That and getting the Cooligans involved was super sweet. Was really proud to kind of help spur that on, especially since they were both wearing our jerseys, which was crazy. I've used that Alexis Guerrero's clip of him just yelling, "Yeah, baby," in a Kickers jersey so much.
I like that clip. That's a glorious clip.
It's a great clip. But no, that's what's going to make this league even more special is the fan created derbies and these rivalries, especially since it's pretty obvious we live on a continent sized country. It's harder to have inner city derbies. Most teams are their derbies are with the local college. Like we played VCU this week. Technically a derby, but it's not a team that we play regularly, except when it's the preseason. So trying to create something that's at least regional, I think is really special. And what the Smothered and Covered sounds cool because instantly you say that and any Southerner knows exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
So,
Smothered and Covered.
Because Waffle House is as important as like church in this area of the country. So
I'm low-key about to go have Waffle House right now. I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm about to go and ruin my entire diet.
Jeez. I mean, no free ads, but I got Belmont waiting for me at the house. So
there you go.
See,
I'm jealous. That's all I got.
See, we're trendsetters. We're cultural trendsetters here.
and everybody has that one hot Waffle House like order that they get religiously.
Yeah.
So Yogi, we're gonna have to go to Waffle House when you come here.
Oh yeah, I know that. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, right. They're
Making
playing
sure.
up.
Making sure.
We the like already been tapped in.
Bet.
You know what we should do, Nate? We should get Emmy going to a Waffle House and try to order something and get his reaction.
I want Emmy to eat whatever he's comfortable with. Because I
do
want
too.
that guy operating at 100%. I know what I feel like when I eat that much breakfast food. I don't need the league MVP doing that.
Okay, let's do. How about that at the end of the season?
Yeah, what we should have is like Emmy in a Waffle House, not the one in Midlothian because it was just a murder there. Maybe the one on Broad Street where VCU. Look, Richmond Wild, okay? It's the South Side of Richmond. It's a whole different breed.
We're just glossing over that.
As you should. It's a Waffle
It's a
House.
Wait, are we
Great
talking the
customer
one?
service?
Are we talking the one on Midlothian over by Johnson Willis? It's like the
right across
brand
from the
new Waffle
Wawa
House? Or is it the one that's by Chippenham?
is the one by Chippenham.
There are multiple with multiple shootings and murders.
Look,
Look up.
it's Richmond. Okay, it's Southside Richmond. It's a different outlet. All right.
I thought I was just going based on Waffle Houses, but certainly you've got the one right by VCU's campus,
Yeah, a little bit safer.
which
So
used to
we
be
have?
a great frozen yogurt shop. So RIP to that frozen yogurt shop. But
It went from frozen yogurt to Waffle House.
yeah, it was a big flip.
But what you have is like Emmy there with like his 3 MVP trophies, his 3 golden boots, the league trophy, the US Open Cup trophy, the Henny Derby, and the Smothered and Covered with like a plate of Smothered and Covered. There you go.
I mean, it sounds like good content to me. I'm happy to shoot that.
There's just a couple flaws in that plan, but all right.
No, it's not. This is my dream, and this will happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't promise Waffle House, but I think there'll be some opportunities to do some more diners, drive-ins, and dives style content, if you will. If you read the piece that we put out with Jonathan Bolaños last year, he's going to take me over to the Colombian restaurant that he likes to eat at so much, so I can really find out what's going on with that. I'm very excited. But I'll get the guys out to a couple places. So
Tell me more. Tell me more.
we've got, if you haven't been to Richmond yet, come to Richmond, do the weekend. Do not come up just for the game. Do the weekend. Come jump on a bird scooter, rent a car. I don't care. Go see the murals. We've got incredible artwork in our city all over the place. It doesn't matter whether you're in the Fan, the Museum District, Jackson Ward, Carver, Oregon Hill, Churchill. Like, we've got great art everywhere. And then there's at least 4 or 5 banger restaurants in each and every single one of those neighborhoods. I mean, it's crazy. I love this place.
He ain't lying to you. Richmond got amazing soul food. Now, you might get stuck up, but the fried chicken is worth it. Not gonna lie to you, I will let you know before you go get the fried chicken.
Where is the best place to get fried chicken? Now I'm curious.
Ooh.
in your humble
How-
opinion?
I still can't believe we just completely moved on.
How
from the
good do you want to
part.
get?
Kyle, I'm with you, Kyle, because
I'm
there
just
was a whole murder.
Look,
How good do you want to get, Nate? Like, because if you want to get gutty, get some banging ass fried chicken, you can go to Hog's Barbecue in Southside Plaza. Now you might have to wear a bulletproof vest. Don't go after dark. But the fried chicken and fried catfish is just amazing. If you want to be a little bit safer, you got Croaker Spot. It's
okay.
a little safer. Who else you got?
I
mean,
mean, we're really not gonna talk about this murder.
I used to do appliance and furniture delivery. Like I used to go in people's houses. Like I'm not necessarily worried about that part. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah, go to Hogs. You
I'm
good?
just ready to go get because oh gosh, why can't I think of it now?
Why does he have a trap house for chicken?
Have you ever gotten Queens, Elliot?
Yeah, I've tried it.
And I think that's Circle Plaza, right? Dude,
Yeah.
their curry chicken is outrageous.
I'm gonna have to try that next time.
Yeah.
I know Erie Things has some amazing jerk chicken wings, and they're right off of like Commerce. Is it Commerce?
Erie
Yeah.
Ting off Cary.
Yeah,
Right before you go down the hill into downtown, their food's pretty good. I like them a lot.
yeah, they're pretty good. So yeah,
Some pepper steak.
like Ryan said he's not worried about the murder. He's worried about the fried chicken. That's the right mindset to have.
I'm not worried about the murder. I just can't believe we're just overlooking it.
People die every day, B. I can't help that. It is Waffle House. Once again, I don't go into Waffle House expecting great service. If the cook don't have tattoos and a rap sheet, the food's trash. I don't want it.
That's fine. But
You know,
someone got murdered.
Well, so the way Elliot's approaching this, it is reminding me of how my former editor at the Busby Babe, who is still basically a part of the Busby Babe, he's like how Sir Alex Ferguson is not the coach of Manchester United anymore, and instead just influences everything instead. And so, oh yeah, Fat Dragon's pretty good. If you want to take a nap after, I definitely recommend Fat Dragon. But so Brent's theory is because he's Trinidadian, I believe, and the ruder they are when you order your food, the better it tastes.
Well, yeah, that's like common sense.
That's
Like,
known.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't even want you to talk to me. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the body was still there. They was just cooking. Like they shut down the restaurant for like 30 minutes, got the body up on it, and they get back to cooking.
We're really
30.
One thing I am really excited about, if we do make it down, I might have to drive separate for the Greenville game so I can stop in Columbia, because the best chicken and waffles I've ever had in my life was in Columbia, South Carolina.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I will go down to Greenville to stop at Anderson to go get the moonshine, because they have a great like moonshine distillery place, and they make like a strawberry mango one, and it tastes amazing.
That sounds dangerous.
I mean, I have the apple pie moonshine.
That's fine. It's not strawberry and mango. Like this was exotic and on a whole nother level.
I'm just saying, I will see you Saturday. So if you want moonshine, I got you.
Yes, you should do that.
Yes, we're here. We're here. We're connected.
We're here.
Not with your murderous Waffle Houses, but we're
I can't
connected.
control. Once again, I cannot control that.
Look, if the Waffle House is too hot, we have IHOPs around. You know.
Oh, that's
just
insulting.
look at the other Waffle House then.
We've got other chain breakfast spots. What's sad is the Bob Evans closed down, and somebody whose entire family's from the Midwest, that hurt. I've eaten a lot of Bob Evans in my day.
Yeah, I keep hearing about this Bob Evans. I don't know what it is. Never been.
It's Cracker Barrel with different branding, but
Oh, okay.
And I'm not
but-
stepping foot into a Cracker Barrel because that looked like a plantation house. Not doing that.
it's tough. It has not aged well. You're correct. It has not aged well.
No, like I feel like every time I go into a Cracker Barrel, and I step on the floor, I just hear like ancestors like slavery. It's gonna happen. All right, come on, let's go. It's time to get out of here.
What is that waffle place you told me about the
Oh,
last time
Campus
Capital Waffle Shop.
Yes.
Oh, Capital Waffle Shop. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle, you gotta
That's
go
the
there.
spot.
They're amazing.
Every waffle you could ever want. Just don't get the chicken and waffles. You will
I'm
be
just mad we
disappointed.
didn't stop at Waffle House on the way back in 2019. That's what.
Yeah,
pissed
that's
me
your
off.
fault. That's your fault. How the hell you not?
Rookie mistake.
Because we didn't leave in a timely fashion.
Of course not. Of course. Henny,
He forgot to
leaving
tell you
time?
they arrived there hella late.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
That
Well,
too.
Yeah. I mean, you guys took a bus, right? It
We
was like
took a mini bus.
a
Yeah.
mini bus. I mean, that you might want to eat light if everyone's packing, into a small bus,
Well, we were flying through the Appalachian Mountains and shit. Like, Someone would have puked.
Yeah.
On the drive back. Like, it was the right decision, but it was also the wrong decision.
Yeah. I remember we ate a little poorly when I was growing up in Florida. I played basketball on a PAL league, and we were coming back to South Florida from Central Florida, and our coach made the mistake of letting everybody get McDonald's for lunch, and it's just, and a bus.
Before you played?
No, after we played, but still.
Oh, that's not better.
Boy, I know y'all was cramping.
It's close quarters.
Oof. So essentially what we learned from this is we're going to have to make a food guide when we come to these different cities.
Yeah.
So
that would be a cool thing for supporters to do if you did, to like try and make it more advantageous for people to go elsewhere. Get the supporters groups together. I want to know what the best 3 places are to eat at Tucson. I want to know the 3 best places to eat at Fresno, Fort Collins, Colorado. Like, let's crowdsource that so that way people are eating good when they go visit and see their teams play elsewhere.
Oh yeah. If that barbecue place is still open by the stadium, Yogi, that would literally be number 1 and number 3.
That's fine. I'm with it.
Because
What barbecue place?
it's like this. I think it's Old Smoky. Literally some of the best barbecue I've ever had. They are literally on the side of the road, like six booths in the building, and then like a counter, and it's just this old building that is like some of the best barbecue I've ever had. It's a little southern old lady at the front just greeting you, helping you. Need a refill, she got you. It's like that southern charm type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very much it.
I want barbecue.
There you go. Nothing wrong with barbecue.
First we gotta get. So
Probably
first is Waffle House and then it's barbecue. Okay.
We get barbecue on a waffle.
Yes. There's nothing stopping us in this great nation. Well,
probably go to Capital Waffle Shop and get it.
We'll look into that. Maybe that's the next great thing. Is chicken and waffles played out, and now you need to get brisket on a waffle.
That is the type of communication, coordinating I need from you. You are a man.
So isn't that almost technically like a sandwich?
Whoa, we're not doing this.
We'll figure out the details later.
It is not a sandwich. It is not a sandwich. Barbecue on top of a waffle is not a sandwich.
Well,
if there's a second waffle.
Oh, now you playing. That's too much.
Is it though?
It is.
Is it though?
Because you need 2 waffles to support the brisket and barbecue.
Why?
I mean,
Man up.
2 waffles is better than 1.
The most important thing either way is you got to have like a sweet and spicy syrup or like hot honey.
Yes.
Hot
honey. Yes.
To the 4 people still watching this, I hope you are no longer hungry.
If you're watching this at this point in the podcast, you are dedicated to a whole other level.
This is the prime part. Like, remember when we compared all the chicken places to League One team? This is what people actually want.
Yo, that was prime content.
Like, this is what we are. This is what sets us apart from everyone else.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got to do barbecue next.
But the problem is there's not that many like chains of barbecue, which makes it difficult.
Yeah, it's all local, and if you tell me you're eating mustard-based anything, you're getting blocked.
So is this the part where I exit the pod?
He's like, all right, I'll be easy.
I guess that's my side.
My bad, Nate. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I definitely love mustard base, but obviously the goat is vinegar, and please don't bring tomato barbecue sauce.
I agree. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're here. We're back together. It's okay. We're good.
So I went down to the game that June 25th? Is either June 24th or June 25th. Kickers played at NCFC, and I stopped at one of the chain barbecue places relatively close to the stadium, and I cannot remember what it's called now, but it was pretty good.
There's a chain barbecue place?
I was told it might be a local chain where there's like 4 or 5. I'll have to look it up now because I enjoyed it. But
Ryan, I will fight you about barbecue. I'm gonna fight Gio in the Waffle House parking lot, and then I can fight you in the Old Smoky parking lot, and it's okay. It's just gonna have to be what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can't help it. I am who I am.
Oh man, I can't wait for the season to get started up. Are you excited? I know you're ready. Or are you just more tired?
You know what's it's exciting because I am notoriously bad at planning. I'm much better at reacting. And so the moment we kick off on April 2nd at City Stadium against FC Tucson, tickets are still available. Like this giant weight is going to be lifted off my shoulders because I'm no longer worrying about, oh my God, what do I still have to get done for opening night? At that point, season started and we're just going. And I'm very, very excited. Obviously, we keep getting closer and closer to what our goals on the field are. The last couple of years under Darren, so this year's super exciting. Looking forward to seeing more progress, seeing our guys grow. So yeah, I'm pretty jazzed. I can't wait. It's hard to believe that we're like 2 weeks away already. It feels like I just was at the winter meetings, finally meeting everybody for the first time. So it's kind of crazy that we are going to be playing games that count very, very soon. But it's so exciting. I'm ready to go.
Right. All right. I guess it's time for us to really end this podcast now because we talked about everything in a sense. All right. Well, thank you, man, for taking the time out of your day for hopping on the show. You've been amazing as always, my good man.
Yeah. Eat more barbecue, everybody. That's the best advice I got.
Kyle, that's the tagline. That is the tagline.
All right.
That's the tagline.
That's the new actually name for the account. Eat more barbecue.
Yes,
Right.
there we go.
BRB updating that right now.
Right. Guys, listeners out there, we want you to know that we got a couple of more interviews coming up. We got an exclusive interview on Saturday with the head coach of North Carolina FC. My wife is yelling my name because I think she just got dinner. We have another interview coming up on Tuesday with Benny of Fort Madison. And then Thursday is our preseason show, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to be busy.
We have a busy March.
You just do a lot of dates at me. Woo.
I know. This is why I do Google invites just for you, Ebony. Just so
I appreciate you.
Just so you can know. Kyle still is going to show up late. That's a forget.
Look, I keep telling you, I put these kids down at 7 p.m. Central.
Kyle, give them the melatonin at 5 and call it a day.
I can't give a 9-month-old melatonin.
Why can't you?
No,
My grandparents used to give us whiskey on the gums and call it a day.
Oh no! Y'all have a good night.
That's how we end up with murders that we don't talk about.
just river plums.
Easy.